So what do we say about this this image that I think is spread far and wide now of a Navy veteran wearing Navy vet garb, right? Which he says he did intentionally so that in the hopes that he would get interaction, decent human interaction from the officers whom he was facing, whom we see standing tall and proud and alone and being beaten on by police until he finally turns around and reports later that he is somewhat damaged, as you would expect he would be.
Yeah.
We know something, we have some thoughts about what's going on. You want to start?
Well, I would just say that it raises a question. I mean, it's, first of all, a very dramatic piece of footage that somebody is standing there and withstanding a physical attack that's quite powerful. But there's also a question about, what was the interaction that resulted in that attack? And
we've heard that there had been regular announcements for many minutes up to an hour beforehand by, and I don't know if it was the police, the federal officers, to clear the area, to get out of the area. They were going to start using, if they said tear gas, it was federal officers because local police aren't allowed to, and that looks true to me. In part because the scene is otherwise empty in the scene that is these scenes that we're seeing from that particular part of Portland at those times of night for the last consecutive, whatever you said, 54 days, is always chaotic with lots of people running back and forth and everywhere. And so this looks to have been a scene that had been cleared and was attempted to be being cleared. And, that presumably doesn't justify a beating, but it also doesn't make that man an innocent as he is portraying himself. And this is the thing, is how much of what we are hearing is PR and how would we know? Right? Like that's the question always. We certainly experienced this at Evergreen when we started to see the PR machine, get tripped into gear and start making actions that they knew would play well with some part of the outside world.
Yeah.
So obviously a tall, strong, independent man in Navy wear. Patriot who is being beaten on. This looks like the authoritarian madness that we are being told is rife in every police department across the country. But I don't think that's what we were actually seeing.
Well, and you have to play it through. So let's imagine that you decided to precipitate an event. And so the police say, clear out, we're about to come through the area. You approach them instead. You have some interaction where you refuse to go. Now, might be that what they should have done is handcuffed him and dragged him off. We don't know the situation because what we have is exactly what fell in the frame. Mm-hmm. We don't have the context that happened before. We don't have the contents of the interaction between him and the officers. And so the point is, that looks bad.
We have two types of media. And that story that we've all now seen at least pieces of plays really well with CNN and with NPR and with MSNBC. And some alternative story will play really well with Fox and Fox mostly, and a lot of minor outlets that don't have as much play. But basically all of these outlets fall prey to just reporting on the narrative that they already agree with.
All right.
That's what they do.